There's a lot of different shit at play here. I want to keep this as general and as unrelated to the book as possible because you haven't read the series, and if you ever start the series, I would like you to at least be surprised like a little bit. But the biggest problem with how this character's alcoholism is framed is that it's not really treated like a problem half the time. If anything, when you read the series like a second time, you realize that the character in question was not a drinker before she met the people that get all pissed off about her drinking. They're the ones who really introduced her to drinking as a coping mechanism. I know I was dropping names in the like video that you were responding to, but because you haven't read the series, I'm going to do my best to like keep names and stuff out of this. But the girl in question is characterized as someone who is always like very much in control of herself, especially early on. But then like something horrible happens to her. Like it is framed like an assault upon her body and soul because it is. And I think the major problem here is that one, I don't think we see her in her party girl era, in her like going out and doing dumb shit era a lot. A lot of that happens off page. So we just have to rely on the group like the group of people like her friends, her family at the time to describe what she's been doing. And given what we know about this group of people, especially if you read these books with anything like a critical eye, that's not a really reliable take. And you also have to keep in mind that there is a compelling connection between her and her love interest that she is not aware of, but everyone else is. So when this character is being said like, oh no, like you can't party, you can't do your shit anymore, you have to hang out with this man in this enclosed space, and it's going to be very, very difficult for you to leave. It's either do that or go to where you came from and more than likely die. She doesn't really have any choices in the matter. And so it's very difficult to figure out, is the group of people seeking to rehabilitate this character, are they doing it for her, or are they doing it in service of the connection that she has with this guy? Because, as you don't know, the connection between this character and her love interest, if it is not dealt with, the men, like the men in that situation, they run the risk of going crazy, of descending into madness. There is kind of a ship war going on in this fandom that is surrounding a different one of these, biological emotional connections between two people. And a lot of the arguments on one side is that a beloved character will go absolutely mad if that ship doesn't happen. So there's like a lot more shit at play here than this girl has a drinking problem, because there's a lot of different things that led this group of people to essentially imprison this character in a place where it was very difficult for her to get out of. I'd also like to push back on the idea that pretty girls don't buy their own drinks, because maybe a certain caliber of pretty, those girls don't have to buy their own drinks. But I think, one, I have never had a drink paid for me at a bar. And I don't know if I would call myself a pretty girl, but I have never had a drink bought for me at a bar. At least not when I was single. Like, I'm married now. Like, my husband will pay for drinks for me at the bar. But I've never had just like a random dude be like, oh, hey, here's a drink because you're pretty. But also, I'd argue that when pretty girls get drinks bought for them at the bar, I think the heterosexual men, I don't know about like women buying other women drinks, like that is not my purview. But when a lot of the time when a heterosexual man buys a woman a drink, there is some kind of expectation that like she now owes him like some time, or she owes him like some conversation, or worse, she owes him like sex or something. And that's not fair. I know you don't mean it like that, but I also think that a lot of the time when pretty girls are like getting shit bought for them by men, they want something from that pretty girl. And So the drink still isn't free. You know, she's still giving something. Anyway, I hope this like paints the picture of what the situation is. Besides, you know, this girl has a drinking problem and this girl spent $500 one night at the bar. Or rather, she put 500 marks on her sister and her husband's tab at the bar for reasons. We don't know if that is a constant thing for her. We don't know if she just bought a couple rounds at one point. We don't know how much a mark is worth. There's just a lot of different things at play here. So I think this is one of those things where it's like you might have to read the book, or I might have to explain this with the characters and the plot points and not worry about spoiling you. But because I am worried about spoiling you, I tried to keep it really general. So hopefully that kind of paints a picture here.